The rain hammered the windshield like accusations, blurring the taillights of DC traffic into red smears of regret. Alessia gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white, as Elena's voice cracked through the Bluetooth speaker. "Don't come here. For God's sake. Alessia. Turn around." But Alessia floored the gas, the SUV hydroplaning toward the senator's Georgetown brownstone, where secrets festered like untreated wounds. In that moment, she knew, loving her best friend's mother wasn't just forbidden, it was a grenade with the pin already pulled. Alessia Rossi had always been the firecracker in Jordan's orbit, the one who dragged her best friend to midnight rallies and whispered manifestos under dorm room blankets. 22. With her wild cascade of chestnut curls and a laugh that could disarm a room, Alessia embodied the unfiltered chaos of a second-generation Italian-American kid, raised on Jersey diners and Brooklyn stoops. She'd come to Georgetown University on a scholarship, majoring in political science, dreaming of toppling systems from the inside out. Jordan Hale, her roommate and soul sister since freshman orientation, was the een to her young, polished blonde, the daughter of Senator Marcus Hale, a rising star in the Democratic machine, all silver-tongued charm and calculated handshakes. Jordan's world was manicured lawns and donor galas. Alessia's was spray paint on abandoned warehouses and zines stuffed in her backpack. They'd bonded over shared cynicism, Jordan escaping her parents' marble-floored cage, Alessia fleeing the ghost of her own fractured family. Alessia's mom had split when she was 12, leaving her dad to drown in cheap Chianti and construction gigs. No siblings. No safety net. Jordan, meanwhile, had everything except authenticity, a father who pulled his decisions like stock trades, a mother who glided through life like a porcelain swan. Elena Hale. Got Elena. 45. With that effortless grace that made Alessia forget how to breathe. Blonde waves streaked with silver, like moonlight on the Potomac, and eyes the color of a summer storm blue, piercing, hiding tempests no one else saw. It started innocently enough, or so Alessia told herself in the rearview mirror of those early mornings. Study sessions at the Hale residence during Jordan's internship summers, when the senator was off glad-handing in Ohio. Elena would brew espresso strong enough to wake the dead, her silk blouses brushing Alessia's arm as she leaned in to critique a paper. "You're too raw, Alessia," she'd say, her voice a velvet drawl with that faint Virginia lilt. "But raw is what changes the world. Don't let them sand it down." Alessia would flush, stammering about intersectional feminism, while Elena's gaze lingered, a beat too long, a smile too knowing. By junior year, the air between them crackled. Jordan was oblivious, buried in her own rebellion, hookups with baristas, late nights debating policy over cheap tequila. One humid August evening, after a rally against corporate PACs turned ugly with pepper spray, Alessia stumbled into the Hale kitchen, eyes burning, clothes reeking of tear gas. Jordan had crashed early, hungover from a rooftop party. Elena was there, alone, in a linen dress that clung like a second skin, pouring chamomile tea. "Sit," she commanded softly, and Alessia did, collapsing onto the island stool like a puppet with cut strings. Elena's hands were cool on her face, wiping away the residue with a damp cloth. "Breathe, darling. You're safe." The endearment slipped out, casual as breath, but it ignited something feral in Alessia. She grabbed Elena's wrist, not to stop her, but to hold on. Their eyes locked, and the kitchen shrank to the space between them, The hum of the fridge. The distant tick of a grandfather clock. Elena didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned in, her lips brushing Alessia's temple, then her cheek, a whisper of salt and solace. What followed was a collision, mouths crashing, hands fumbling with buttons, the marble countertop cold against Alessia's back. Elena tasted like forbidden fruit, sweet, tart, laced with the bitterness of a life half-lived. They moved to the guest room, shedding clothes like old skins. Elena's body a map of soft curves and faint stretch marks from Jordan's birth, scars that made her achingly real. Alessia, all lean muscle from pickup soccer games and protest marches, worshipped her with the hunger of youth, tracing the lines of Elena's collarbone, the dip of her waist, eliciting gasps that echoed like confessions. It was messy, fervent, a secret etched in stolen hours. Mornings after Jordan left for class, afternoons when the senator was in committee, Elena would text cryptic emojis, a coffee cup, a crescent moon, and Alessia would invent excuses, her heart pounding like a war drum. They never named it. This thing blooming in the shadows. Love? Lust? Survival? Elena spoke in fragments. Marcus hasn't touched me in years, she'd murmur, fingers tangled in Alessia's hair. He loves the idea of me, not the woman. Alessia, too reckless to question, poured herself into the breach, whispering promises she couldn't keep. You're more than his wife. You're a force, but forces have fault lines. Elena's hidden truth simmered beneath the surface. A grenade indeed. She'd been a firebrand once herself, marched with Gloria Steinem in the 90s, volunteered for women's shelters before Marcus's ambition swallowed her whole. The marriage was a transaction, his charisma for her pedigree, a Southern belle with a law degree from UVA. She'd buried her queerness deep, convinced it was a phase, a youthful dalliance with a college roommate that faded under the weight of expectations. Until Alessia, vibrant, unapologetic, a mirror to the girl Elena had silenced. The first crack appeared in October, midterm season. Jordan burst into their dorm, eyes wild, waving a leaked email chain from her dad's office. Can you believe this shit? Dad's cutting a deal with Big Pharma to kill the drug price bill. For campaign cash. Alessia, fresh from Elena's bed, forced a laugh, but guilt gnawed at her. How could she rail against corruption while tangled in the Hale family web? That night, at a dive bar in Adams Morgan, Jordan got sloshed on IPAs and spilled her soul. Mom's the only one who gets it. She pretends to be this perfect step-forward wife, but I know she's dying inside. Dad's affair in '08? She covered for him. Swallowed it all. Alessia's stomach twisted. Elena had never mentioned that, only her own isolation. Was the truth she'd hidden not just their affair, but a lifetime of silences? She texted Elena, "We need to talk." The reply came hours later. Not now. Jordan's home for the weekend. But Alessia couldn't wait. She drove to Georgetown in the witching hour, parking under the gas lamps that flickered like judgmental eyes. The brownstone door creaked open. Elena in a cashmere robe, hair tousled, face pale as moonlight. Alessia. What the hell? But Alessia pushed inside. The foyer swallowing them in its opulent hush, Persian rugs, crystal decanters glinting like accusations. Jordan told me about your husband's affair. Why didn't you say, we're this? It's built on half-truths. Elena's laugh was brittle. A shard of glass. She poured scotch. Neat. Her hand trembling. Because it's not a story with heroes. Darling. I stayed for Jordan. For the life it bought her. You think I haven't paid? She sank onto the velvet chaise, pulling Alessia down beside her. Their knees touched. Electric. And you're the first real thing I've felt in decades. But it's poison. If Marcus finds out, the words hung. Unfinished. Alessia cupped Elena's face, thumbs brushing tears. Then we burn it down. Together. They kissed then. Slow and searing. A vow sealed in salt. Sure. Jordan slept, oblivious to the earthquake rumbling below. Winter descended on DC. Like a shroud, blanketing the National Mall in snow that muffled the city's roar. Alessia and Elena's affair deepened. A clandestine rhythm. Encrypted apps for poetry snippets. Drives to Shenandoah where they'd hike until exhausted. Collapsing in fogged-up car windows. Elena opened up in layers, her first love. A sorority sister named Lila. Lost to a car crash, the pressure from her Bible Belt family to marry right. The quiet rage that fueled her private donations to LGBTQ+ causes. Funneled through shell charities to evade Marcus's scrutiny. Alessia fell harder. Her activism sharpening with Elena's influence. She organized a campus sit-in against conversion therapy bans, quoting Elena's old manifestos verbatim. Jordan joined. Proud. Linking arms with Alessia as chants rose. Love is love, but the hook in Alessia's chest tightened. At a holiday party in the Hales ballroom, crystal chandeliers, power brokers and tuxes, Elena glided past in emerald silk, her hand brushing Alessia's lower back. A ghost touch that set her aflame. Jordan, tipsy on eggnog, pulled Alessia aside. You're glowing lately. Spill. Who's the girl? Alessia's heart stuttered. Just. Focusing on school. Lie tasted like ash. That night, alone in her childhood bedroom back in Jersey for break, Alessia scrolled Elena's old photos. Elena at 25. Fierce in bell-bottoms. Arm around Lila at a march. Caption. Faded. Sisters in the fight. But Alessia's gut twisted, sisters? Or more? She fired off a voice note. Were you ever going to tell me about her? About you. Elena's call came at dawn. Voice thick with sleep and something darker. Lila was everything. Then she was gone. And I folded. Buried it. For survival. Pause. A sob swallowed. You're waking her up in me. Alessia. But it's terrifying. They talked for hours. Raw and unfiltered. Elena admitting the truth she'd hidden even from herself. She was gay. Not bi. Not confused. A woman whose heart beat for women. Caged by a man's world. The senator's wife wasn't a role. It was a prison. Spring brought blooms and betrayals. Senator Hale's re-election campaign ramped up. Billboards plastering his face, square-jawed. Avuncular across the beltway. Elena played the dutiful spouse, smiling for cameras, but her eyes sought Alessia in crowds. One April afternoon, after a strategy session at the Hale residence, Jordan cornered Alessia in the sunroom. You've been weird. Distant. And Mom, she looks at you like. I don't know. Alessia's pulse thundered. You're imagining things. Dress. Probably. But Jordan wasn't fooled. That evening, rifling through Alessia's backpack for a charger, she found it. A locket. Elena's initials engraved inside. Slipped in during a hurried goodbye. The pieces clicked late nights. Flush cheeks. The sudden poetry books on Alessia's shelf. Betrayal hit like a freight train. Jordan didn't confront. She stewed. Then schemed. By midnight, she'd hacked Elena's email, a shared family password. Hail Legacy 2020. Unearthing the threat. Hearts. Sonnets. Coordinates for lovers' lanes. The explosion came on a muggy May night. The kind where thunder rumbled like unspoken grief. Jordan texted Alessia, "My place. Now." Alessia arrived to find the brownstone ablaze with lights. Marcus away in Philly. Elena cornered in the living room like a doe in headlights. Jordan stood there, phone in hand, face a mask of fury and hurt. "You fucked my mom? My best friend? How long?" "Alessia, how could you?" Elena stepped forward, voice steady despite the tremor. "Jordan. Baby. This isn't." "Shut up." Jordan whirled, tears carving tracks through her mascara. "You hid it all, Dad's cheating. Your own lies, and now this? Some twisted affair to play house while I was breaking." She hurled the phone at the wall, screen shattering like their fragile triad. Alessia reached for her, but Jordan recoiled. "You're both monsters. Destroying us for what? Some rom-com bullshit." The room spun. Alessia knelt amid the shards, sobbing. "I love her. Jordan. It wasn't planned. Just was." Elena collapsed beside her, pulling Alessia close, their foreheads touching in defiance. Marcus called then, oblivious, demanding updates on a donor list. Elena answered on speaker, her voice a steel thread. "Everything's fine, dear. Just a family discussion." But it wasn't. Jordan fled to a friend's, leaving a voicemail that gutted Alessia. "I trusted you. Both of you. Don't call me." The senator returned the next day. Elena confessing in clipped tones, no details. Just irreconcilable. He raged. Then calculated. Divorce would tank his polls, especially with whispers of Elena's instability. They agreed to separate quietly. Therapy speak for Elena walking away with alimony and Jordan's tuition secured. The climax unfolded on those Capitol steps. A week later, Alessia had stormed a press conference. Hale's victory lap on healthcare reform. Her sign reading authenticity over ambition. Rain lashed down as she chained herself to the railing, chanting for truth in politics and in families. Elena appeared like a specter. Umbrella discarded. Coat sodden. "Alessia. Stop this madness." But Alessia, drenched and defiant, 22 and unbreakable, locked eyes. "No more hiding. For you. For us." Security swarmed, but Elena shoved through, dropping to her knees in the puddle, gripping Alessia's hands. "I love you," she whispered, the words a thunderclap amid the storm. "But Jordan," she shattered. "And me? I'm finally free. But at what cost?" Protesters cheered, mistaking it for theater. Cameras flashed, capturing the raw tableau. Jordan watched from the crowd's edge, anonymous in a hoodie, her face a war of grief and dawning understanding. In the aftermath, the truth leaked, not the affair, but fractures. Hale's campaign wobbled on rumors of marital discord, forcing a pivot to family values hypocrisy exposés that Alessia gleefully amplified online. Elena filed for divorce, coming out in a quiet op-ed for The Atlantic, a lifetime of silences, one woman's reckoning. It went viral. A humanist hymn to late-blooming courage, sparking helplines and hashtags. Jordan. after ghosting for months, showed up at Alessia's commencement, arms crossed but eyes soft. I get it now. Kinda. Doesn't make it hurt less. But Mom's happier. Glowing. Even. Alessia and Elena? They didn't rush. Summers in a rented cabin by the Chesapeake, teaching each other to fish and forgive. Fall brought Elena to Alessia's activist co-op. Her senator wife polish traded for jeans and a rainbow pin. Love, turned out, wasn't a grenade but a garden, tended with patience, watered by tears. On a crisp November evening, 2 years on, they stood on the mall, Jordan between them, watching fireworks burst over the reflecting pool. To truths that build, not break, Elena toasted with hot cider. Alessia squeezed her hand, curls whipping in the wind. And to the women who dare them, in America's heart, amid monuments to flawed giants, they carved their own legacy. Not destruction, but dawn. The fragile piece of that fireworks night was a lie Alessia told herself. A band-aid on a bullet wound. Dawn broke with Jordan's text. Coffee? Neutral ground. They met at a DuPont Circle Cafe. The kind with mismatched mugs and chalkboard menus scrawling daily specials in loopy script. Jordan slid into the booth. Her blonde bob severe. Nails tapping a rhythm of unresolved fury. 24 now. Post-grad and interning at a non-profit. She carried the hail poise like armor, tailored blazer over band tee. A fuck you to her father's world. Alessia arrived flustered. Late from a lecture on queer theory and policy. Her backpack slung heavy with dog-eared Audre Lorde. Hey, she said, sliding a latte across. You look good. Truth. Jordan looked haunted. Shadows under her eyes like bruises from the year's brawls. Jordan sipped. Scalded her tongue. Winced. Cut the crap. Mom's moving to Adams Morgan. With you. After everything. Her voice pitched low. But the cafe's indie folk croon couldn't mask the edge. Alessia flushed. Olive skin blooming crimson. It's not like that. She's got her own place. Upstairs studio. I'm just helping with boxes. A snort. Boxes. Right. Like you helped with her sanity last year. Jordan's fingers clenched the mug. Knuckles paling. I saw the photos. You know. From the rally. Iru. Kneeling in the rain like some lesbian Thelma and Louise. It went viral in my group chat. Senator's wife goes full rainbow. Classy. Alessia leaned in. Voice a fierce whisper. It wasn't for show. That was us. Breaking free. You were there, you saw. Jordan's laugh cracked. Bitter as burnt espresso. I saw my world implode. Dad's poll numbers tanked 20 points. He blamed Mom's hysteria. I had to lie to my therapist. Say it was all exaggerated. Pause. Eyes glistening. Do you get what you took from me? My family wasn't perfect. But it was mine. The words landed like slaps. Each one stinging Alessia's conscience. She'd replayed that night 1,000 times. The shattered phone. Jordan's howl of betrayal echoing off crown molding. In the weeks after, Jordan had vanished into a haze of therapy and travel, backpacking the Appalachian Trail, posting filtered sunsets that screamed I'm fine. Elena had ached, sending care packages of Jordan's favorites, lavender scones, dog-eared copies of the Bell Jar. Alessia had played mediator. Voicemails pleading, we're not replacing you. We love you separately. Always. Now, face to face. The chasm yawned. Alessia reached across.
Tentative.
I never wanted to hurt you. You're my sister. Jordan. That doesn't vanish because I fell for your mom. Jordan jerked back. But didn't flee. Fell? Or fucked your way into rebellion? Mom was miserable. Yeah, I knew that. But you? Sneaking around my house. Using our kitchen for your little trysts? It feels like violation. The barista glanced over. Sensing drama. Alessia lowered her gaze. Curls curtaining shame. It started as comfort. After the rally, when I was gassed and raging, she saw me, really saw. And I saw her. The woman behind the Stepford mask. She exhaled. Slow. We didn't plan the rest. The love part snuck up. Like kudzu. Jordan's shoulders slumped. Armor cracking. Kudzu. Fitting chokes everything. But her tone softened. Curiosity edging in. What was it like? For her? I mean. Coming out at 45. Torching her life. Alessia hesitated. Then spilled. Elena's nights pacing the brownstone. Drafting that op-ed until her fingers cramped. The anonymous death threats that had Alessia installing deadbolts. The quiet joy of her first pride. Arm in arm with Alessia under rainbow arches. Jordan's absence a ghost between them. By the latte's dregs. Jordan admitted her own cracks. A girlfriend from the trail. A folk singer with tattoos and trust issues. Who'd bailed when Jordan's senator kid baggage surfaced. I'm trying. Okay. To rebuild. But seeing you too. It's like watching my parents divorce on fast forward. But gayer. A watery smile. Pun intended. They parted with a hug stiff. Then fierce, Jordan's whisper hot against Alessia's ear. Don't fuck this up. She deserves the sun. Not your drama. Alessia nodded. Throat tight. Watching Jordan vanish into the metro's maw. Back at the co-op. Elena waited. Paint splattered from renovating her studio, walls a fresh coat of sage green. Canvases of abstract waves she'd taken up as therapy. 47. Elena bloomed. Silver threads unbound. Laugh lines deepening with genuine mirth. Body softer in yoga pants and tees that hugged without apology. Verdict? Elena asked. Toweling her hair. That Virginia lilt wrapping Alessia like smoke. Alessia collapsed onto the drop cloth, pulling Elena down. Survivor's guilt. With a side of snark. But. Progress. Their kiss was languid. Seasoned by time. Tongues tracing familiar paths. Hands mapping scars like braille. Elena's fingers found the tattoo on Alessia's hip. Inked post-rally. A phoenix. Flames curling into olive branches. My fierce girl, she murmured. Nipping the skin. Alessia arched. Breath hitching. You're everything. Nights blurred into a rhythm. Elena's law firm pro bono for trans youth. Alessia's grad school apps laced with Elena's edits. They cooked Sundays, pasta alla norma. Elena's arancini from her nana's recipes, Jordan texting sporadically, thumbs up emojis for Elena's Atlantic follow-up, a link to a queer bookstore reading. But undercurrents swirled. Marcus Hale, undeterred, announced a Senate run for Virginia. His platform a slick pivot. Family first. Faith renewed. Whispers circled. Had Elena's breakdown been suppressed? Leaks hinted at her radical ties. Code for the affair. The second fracture hit in July. Heat wave baking D.C. into submission. Alessia was at a climate march. Megaphone in hand. When her phone buzzed, Elena's name. A single word: home. She raced back, finding Elena curled on the futon, face ashen. A manila envelope clutched like a talisman. Marcus, she rasped. He knows. Not everything, but enough. Hired a PI after the divorce papers. Alessia's blood iced. The envelope spilled photos, grainy shots of them in Shenandoah. Elena's head on Alessia's lap, a blurry motel in Rehoboth where they'd dance till dawn. Accompanying note. Marcus's scrawl. This stays buried. Or Jordan pays. Your choice. Elena's sob broke free. Raw and ragged. He'll use it, smear me as unstable. Unfit. Jordan's law school apps. Her future. Gone. Alessia paced. Fury coiling. We fight. Go public. Preempt him. But Elena shook her head. Silver hair veiling defeat. I'm done being the villain in his story. And you're just starting. Don't let me drag you under. The argument escalated. Voices ricocheting off exposed brick. Alessia accusing Elena of cowardice. Elena hurling Alessia's youth as recklessness. You think love conquers pollsters? It didn't for me at 25. Doors slammed. Alessia stormed to the co-op roof. City lights mocking her isolation. Hours later, Elena found her. Blanket draped. Staring at the stars. I'm sorry, Elena whispered. Settling beside. Fear's an old habit. Alessia turned. Eyes red-rimmed. Then break it. With me. They made love under the canopy, slow.
Urgent.
Reclaiming ground lost to panic. Elena's body, familiar yet eternal, yielded and claimed. Alessia's hands, callous from picket signs, gentled the tremors. Dawn brought strategy. Elena's lawyer, a bulldog from her UVA days, drafted NDAs and countersuits. Jordan, looped in via encrypted call. See that. Dad's a snake. Let me talk to him. But Elena refused. Protective. This isn't your war. Baby. Jordan's reply, too late. It's ours. The betrayal deepened. Jordan, allying with Alessia, leaked a redacted version of the photos to a progressive blog, framing it as Hale's hypocrisy, Senator Stock's ex-wife's privacy. Polls flipped, donors fled. Climax Redux. A sweltering August fundraiser at the Kennedy Center. Hale's big swing. Alessia and Elena crashed it. Uninvited. Elena in a crimson sheath that screamed unapologetic. Alessia at her side in leather pants and a truth power tee. Whispers rippled as they entered. Arm in arm. Jordan flanking like a sentinel. Marcus spotted them mid-toast. Champagne flute freezing mid-air. Elena, he hissed, steering them to a alcove. This stunt ends now, Elena cut in. Voice steel. No more threats. No more shadows. Jordan stepped up. Eyes blazing. Hurt them. You hurt me. And the press? They're outside. Flashes erupted through velvet curtains. Reporters. Tipped by Jordan's ally. Hale deflated. Jaw slack. For what? Some midlife crisis fling. Alessia's laugh was thunder. It's love. Marcus. The kind you forgot how to give. Elena squeezed her hand. Then faced her ex. Sign the papers clean. Or the full story drops. Your call. He signed. Inked capitulation under crystal chandeliers. The empire crumbling to confetti. Fall leaves turned the Potomac gold as they healed. Elena's book deal landed. A memoir. Veils and Victories, with Alessia ghost editing late nights over Merlot. Jordan moved in downstairs. Her folk singer girlfriend a frequent visitor. Harmonies drifting up like olive branches. Betrayals mended into bonds. Family dinners with arancini and activism zines. Laughter stitching wounds. One crisp October eve. Atop the co-op roof. Elena slipped a ring on Alessia's finger, rose gold, etched with dawn. Not marriage, she clarified. Blue eyes sparkling. Commitment. To us. Alessia. Tears salting her grin. Pulled her close. To all the truths we hid, and the ones we'll shout. Winter's grip loosened into spring's tentative thaw. But for Alessia, the real bloom was internal, a quiet revolution in the marrow. At 25, grad school swallowed her whole. Seminars on post-colonial queer lit. Theses dissecting power's erogenous zones. Elena, now a full-time advocate with a nonprofit, lectured guest spots at Alessia's university. Her Virginia drawl dissecting policy with the precision of a scalpel. Students whispered, "That's the senator's ex, the one who came out and crashed the machine." Alessia swelled with pride. Her curls bouncing as she claimed her publicly. "My partner. Y'all." The badass who rewrote the rules. Jordan thrived in the chaos. Her law school deferral traded for a fellowship at the ACLU. Litigating trans rights with a vengeance that echoed Elena's buried fire. The three formed a triad unbreakable. Friday game nights with settlers of Caton and Sauvignon Blanc. Jordan's girlfriend Lila, named Coincidence or Cosmic Wink, strumming guitar while Alessia drummed on pots. Betrayal's scar faded to silver. A reminder etched in inside jokes. Pass the sheep. Mom, before you hoard him like secrets. Yet undercurrents lingered. Tidal pulls of doubt. Marcus Hale slunk to the shadows. His Senate bid aborted in a blizzard of scandals, not just Elena's leaks, but unearthed affairs and shady pact ties that Alessia's network amplified with gleeful precision. He relocated to a consultancy in Richmond. Bitter postcards to Jordan. "Your mother's poisoned you." She burned them in the co-op sink. Ash swirling like exorcism. Elena's truth. Once a grenade. Diffused into grace. Her memoir hit shelves in May. Jacket a close-up of her eyes, storm blue. Unflinching under Veils and Victories. A late awakening. Launch party at Politics and Prose. Packed house. Rainbow cookies. Elena reading from the stage. Voice steady. I hid for decades. Not from shame, but survival. Until Alessia, my mirror, my match, showed me the light through the cracks. Applause thundered. Alessia. In the front row. Wipe tears. Jordan squeezing her knee. Nailed it. But fame's double edge cut deep. Trolls dox their address. Forcing a move to a secure row house in Capitol Hill. Wrought iron gates. Smart locks Elena installed with wry humor. Castle for my queens. Alessia chafed at the caution. Her activist blood boiling. We fought for freedom. Not fortresses. Elena pulled her into bed. Bodies entwining like roots. Freedom's messy. Love. Includes protecting what we've built. Their lovemaking evolved less frantic. More symphony. Elena's mouth tracing Alessia's tattoo. Eliciting shudders. Alessia's fingers coaxing Elena's gasps. A litany of mine. Ours. Summer scorched. Riots flaring over police reform.
Alessia Dovein.
Organizing bail funds. Her body a bruise map of rubber bullets. Elena fretted. Bandaging wounds with Neosporin and lectures. You're my heart walking outside. One blistering night. Post-clash. Alessia limped home. adrenaline crashing into sobs. Elena held her on the kitchen floor. Tiles cool against fevered skin. Why does it hurt so much to love this hard? Elena's reply, whispered into curls, because it's real. And real things scar. Jordan's arc crested then, a high-profile case, suing a state for banning queer curricula. Victory parade. The three of them marching the mall. Signs aloft, educate. Don't eradicate. Lila filmed. Her tune a viral TikTok anthem. But in the afterglow, over gelato at a Foggy Bottom parlor, Jordan confessed, I envied you. Alessia. You're fire. Thought mom's polish was all I inherited. Elena reached across. Maternal. You got my fight. Baby. Channeled different. Alessia grinned. Spoon midair. And my chaos? That's all Jersey. Autumn wove redemption's tapestry. Elena's nonprofit ballooned. Grants flowing for shelters. Alessia defended her thesis, dedicating it to the women who unmasked me. Jordan proposed to Lila under the tidal basin's cherry blossoms. Ring simple silver bands. The wedding. Small and sacred. A backyard affair in the row house garden. Fairy lights strung like stars sealed their circle. Alessia officiated. Voice cracking. Jordan. You've been my anchor since day one. Lila. Welcome to the storm. Elena. Matron of honor. Toasted. To families forged in fire, blood, or chosen. Yet humanism demands shadows. That winter, Elena's diagnosis dropped like frost. Early-stage breast cancer. Caught on a routine scan. The word oncology echoed in sterile halls. Alessia's world tilting. We'll fight, she vowed. Gripping Elena's hand in the doctor's office. Paper gown crinkling like fear. Jordan paced outside. Lila murmuring comforts. Treatment blurred months. Chemo's nausea. Elena's hair falling in silver sheaves that Alessia braided into memory boxes. Ninth. Alessia curled fetal. Whispering stay. Stay into Elena's weakening frame. Betrayal revisited. Not Marcus's malice, but fate's indifference. Why now? Elena rasped one dawn. For dripping morphine dreams. Alessia. Hollowite. Stroked her cheek. Universe's shitty timing. But we're tougher. Elena's laugh wheezed. True. My poet warrior. Remission came in spring. Tentative as crocuses, scans clear. Elena's scalp fuzzing back defiant. The scare reshaped them. Tattoos anew. Elena's a lotus on her collarbone. Therapy circles where they unpack survivors' guilt. Love's ledger. By summer's end. On the Chesapeake cabin deck. Rented annually now. Tradition, they scattered petals for Lila. Elena. Bald cap traded for a wide-brim hat. Raised a glass. To hidden truths, they destroy if hoarded. Liberate if shared. Alessia. Curls sun-kissed. Leaned into her. And to the destroyers? We rebuild better. Jordan. Tipsy and tearful. Hug them both. My messy. Perfect family. Years folded like origami. Alessia's professorship at Howard. Elena's TED Talk on late-in-life queer joy. Jordan's judgeship advocacy. The grenade? Long diffused. Its powder fertilizing gardens. On their 10th anniversary, not legal, but etched, under capital fireworks. Alessia knelt. Ring reversed. Marry me? In whatever world allows. Elena. 60 now. Silver crown gleaming. Yes, Ed, with a kiss that tasted of decades. In America's fractured heart. They stood unbroken. A senator's wife. A firebrand daughter. A Jersey phoenix. Love. Dramatic and deep. Proved not destroyer but Dawn's architect.